Last year, there was a lot of controversy regarding the Money in the Bank ladder match. Not only because of who ultimately won that ladder match and became Mr. Money in the Bank, that being Austin Theory with his past gimmick, the selfie gimmick that not a lot of fans were connecting with. They weren't really liking Austin Theory in that gimmick. But also because last year, after many failed attempts by Austin Theory, many failed cash-in attempts, Theory decided to go and cash in, I believe successfully, on the United States Champion, which at the time was the almighty Bobby Lashley. And by doing that, Austin Theory set quite a dangerous precedent that continues to this day, especially now heading into Money in the Bank coming up in London in less than a month. And WWE reiterated that on TV about a week ago when Gunther, the Intercontinental Champion, came up to Matt Riddle, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, had just qualified for the Money in the Bank ladder match. And he told him that he wants Riddle to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. That he desires that with so much passion, and then he told him that once he does, if he does, he hopes he cashes in his Money in the Bank contract, his briefcase, on the ring general, Gunther, for the Intercontinental Championship. And that is the dangerous precedent set by WWE's creative last year with Theory cashing in on the United States Championship. And for most of us wrestling fans, for most of us WWE fans, that is just unnatural. Because last year was just crazy. It was bonkers to think that Theory would cash in on what we view as a mid-card championship. Because that Money in the Bank contract, that briefcase had always been cashed in on the WWE title or the World's Heavyweight Championship. I don't think it had ever been cashed in on the Universal title. Wait, no, I'm forgetting about Brock Lesnar in 2019. Okay. Yeah, so it's always cashed in on the World Champion, on the main event, and rightfully so. That is the top title. You got to encounter the World Champion in a very vulnerable position, and that way you take your chance. You become essentially what Edge ultimately became, the ultimate opportunist. That is what you want. That is the logical way of thinking, right? Because even though the contract, and this is just legal terms, legal terminology, the contract states a championship match any place, anytime, anywhere. Doesn't mean world champion, US champion, intercontinental champion, tag team champion. It doesn't specify. It just says a championship match. So Theory was in the correct, and Gunther is in the correct as well by telling Riddle that he hopes he cashes in on him if he wins the briefcase. The problem with that is now we've got two world champions again. Last year was a bit of an exception. You didn't really believe that they would sacrifice Roman Reigns' historic undisputed Universal Championship reign, longest reign in 2 decades, I believe, at that time, by a Money in the Bank cash-in, by an Austin Theory character that wasn't quite ready for the main event scene just yet. He's getting a little bit closer now, but back then he was as far as you could possibly be. He was as mid-card as you could possibly be. So nobody really believed that Theory could cash in and win the World Championship. So a lot of people were saying that he would fail in his cash-in attempt. That ultimately didn't happen. But for this year, we already have most of the field set for Money in the Bank, for the ladder match, for the briefcase on the men's side of things. We've got Ricochet. I mean, you gotta have him in this type of match, of course. You got Shinsuke Nakamura. I would love for Nakamura to win this ladder match and really start that resurgence of the king of strong style. You got L.A. Knight. Yeah. Enough said. Santos Escobar, LWO, seems to need a win right now. Or actually, he's going to face off against Mustafa Ali next week, I believe. So, I still think it's going to be Santos Escobar because Mustafa Ali is going to be busy with NXT, at least in my mind. And you got Butch or Baron Corbin. That's easy. That's Butch. I mean, Baron Corbin is on a losing streak of a lifetime of his career, and again, he's back in NXT right now, but on the main roster, nobody takes him seriously. And then you got, of course, Matt Riddle, and then one more challenger, one more opponent. Could be Drew McIntyre, maybe making a return to the ladder match, winning it, cashing it in on Rollins and London, and then setting it up for a rematch at SummerSlam. But ultimately, my whole thought process behind this is the Money in the Bank briefcase should be cashed in on the world champion, on the world championship. That's just basic. You gotta go after the top dog because you don't get world title matches that often, and you get a guaranteed world championship match, a guaranteed championship match, and you're gonna cash it in on a mid-card champion. As good as Gunther is as Intercontinental Champion, and as historic as his reign is at this moment in time, it's a mid-card championship. So with that said, those are my thoughts. Again, the dangerous precedent set by WWE would justify somebody winning Money in the Bank this year and cashing it in on the mid-card champion of their brand. It's justified. There's a precedent. But ultimately, it makes more sense for them to go towards the main event for the World Championship. So with that said, what do you think about this entire idea, this entire concept of possibly cashing in on a mid-card title or even the tag team titles at some point? Leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions on the comment section below. In the meantime, tune in later on tonight to the USA Network for NXT, where we're going to see Mustafa Ali and Baron Corbin, and even more of the NXT champion, Carmelo Hayes, on that show. So with that said, I'm Alexis Carrillo. This has been Wrestling Talk, and I'll see you next time.